Welcome to part 3 of the PDHPE lecture series. Part 3 is going to be all about the Ottawa Charter, so that last focus question in Core 1. Now, Ottawa Charter, everyone's favourite part of the syllabus. Alright, let's go really basic. What are the 5 action areas of the Ottawa Charter? Now, we've got developing personal skills, building healthy public policies, strengthening community action, creating supportive environments, and reorienting health services. Some people might be like, how on earth are we going to remember all of those things? Luckily, we've got this little picture to remind us of this little acronym. Donald Bradman scores cricket runs. You might have your own acronym, or you might already know this one. Just a really quick mnemonic that you can use to help you remember the 5 action areas of the Ottawa Charter. Before we really get into the nitty-gritty of the Ottawa Charter, we'll start off with an easy multiple choice question. So, which combination of factors has contributed most to a decreasing smoking in Australia? I'll let you have a quick read through those. Pause the video now. And that's right, B is the correct answer. So targeted legislation and health promotion campaigns are a combination of factors that have contributed to less Australians smoking. Alright, so it's not A because the increased prevalence of lung cancer hasn't contributed to this. C, participation in organised sport doesn't really relate to smoking. And D, decreased access. So access hasn't actually been decreased. Alright, so the questions about the Ottawa Charter in the HSC exam, they could be, as easy as a 3 marker, and I've seen them go up to 12 marks. So I've chosen this one, somewhere in the middle, an 8 marker about it. So in 2012, it asked PDHPE students to argue the benefits of applying the Ottawa Charter to one health promotion initiative. So, make sure you pick only one, stick with that, and talk about each action area as you go through it, okay? So I'm going to give you a sample answer that I've got and color-coded it as well. So let's get into it. So in red is the action area itself. In blue, we've got the things that that action area aims to do. And in green are kind of like some the effects of it, so how it's working. Alright? So the Ottawa Charter is a framework for the implementation of health promotion designed by the World Health Organization and consists of the 5 action areas that can be applied to the National Tobacco Strategy. So that's the strategy that I've used. It's a health promotion initiative that I've chosen, but you could do one about alcohol to prevent injury, so road accidents. You could do one about mental health, or you could do one, what else can we do? We can do one about skin cancer. This one ties into lung cancer. You can also do ones that relate to CBD. So the first action area, developing personal skills. And this is aimed at individuals and ensuring that they are equipped with the necessary skills to be autonomous in making good decisions for their health. This is done by ensuring that they have access to information that allows people to gain greater control of their health. This includes information about the health consequences of tobacco smoking, such as lung cancer, which will help discourage the smoking habit. Then we've got building healthy public policy, which is the government's responsibility. And through this, they develop, introduce, and implement policy and legislation that support the community to make good choices for their health. For instance, the introduction of plain packaging, graphic images, of the effect of tobacco smoking and television advertisements are meant to discourage the purchase and consumption of tobacco, thus reducing the incidence of lung cancer and other respiratory illnesses. So building public policy is all about the government's responsibility in health promotion initiatives. This is generally speaking about the federal government. Then we've got strengthening community action. So this focuses on communities and how they go about participating in health promotion. So strengthening community action encourages communities to work together to address health issues. This is done through health promotion campaigns such as Quit Now, which encourages people to stop their smoking habits or prevent people from developing the habit in the first place. In doing this, health promotion is able to prevent the onset of respiratory illness rather than cure it. This is something that we talked about in part 2 about how prevention is better than cure. At the same time, Quitline provides support for people who are trying to quit smoking. So these are, in this part of the answer, I've included some examples of other health promotion initiatives that focus on the same thing. And then we've got creating supportive environments. So this is creating supportive environments is the modification of workplaces and recreation areas. An example of this is non-smoking areas, which restrict the number of locations where people can smoke. So often you'll see in bars, pubs, and restaurants that they have a no smoking policy at train stations, in workplaces. This is to maintain good health habits, and at the same time it's got a double purpose, so it conveys that smoking is no longer socially acceptable, thus creating pressure to quit smoking. So creating supportive environments, what it does, it's in its name. So it wants to create an environment where people are able to make good health choices. So that's what that action area is all about. And the last one, we've got the reorientation of health services. And this relates to the changing role and responsibility of health services to move beyond curative services and move towards health promotion. So they're not just treating now, but they're also helping to prevent these issues from occurring in the first place. For instance, general practitioners and other health professionals encouraging their patients to quit smoking before a respiratory illness such as emphysema develops. They play a role in educating the community and individuals and not merely curing and treating existing health problems, as prevention is better than cure. That's a message that I always really like to convey throughout the Ottawa Charter, because that's what it's really all about. Ottawa Charter is a framework for health promotion, and health promotion is trying to prevent it before it, preventing these illnesses or getting their early intervention rather than curing in its later stages. For the reorientation of health services, a strategy that health professionals are being asked to use now is this thing called brief intervention. And brief intervention is where, each health professional that an individual sees kind of plants a little seed that, if they're a smoker, they're like, oh, you can stop smoking, right? It'll prevent you from developing emphysema or chronic bronchitis or lung cancer. That's all. But then they continuously hear it from a lot of people, the way they would hear it on TV, and eventually they're thinking, oh yeah, maybe I should stop smoking, just because they are hearing it so much. So yeah, that's an example that you can also use for the reorientation of health services. And then I've got a couple more study tips before we end this session. Now, when answering the question about the Ottawa Charter, use the same example throughout. I think it's just a lot easier for you as well to know. Especially this question, it was asking you only for one health promotion initiatives, sometimes they might ask for more, then obviously talk about more. But if they don't specify it, just talk about one. So if you're talking about the national tobacco strategy, stick to that. If you're talking about the prevention of CBD, stick to that. All right? It kind of also helps with the flow of your answer. And then we've got study tip 6. So practice questions are your best friend. You should know your content by now, so it's a matter of applying your knowledge to those questions. You know, they're not gonna list something from sorry, I'm gonna rephrase that. They're not going to pick a point from the syllabus word for word. It's up to you to be able to interpret a question, know which part of the syllabus it's from, and then answer it correctly. So my tip to you right now is, do 1 or 2 questions every day until your exam. It'll only take 10 to 15 minutes. It's a really easy way of being able to study. So yeah, really recommend going through past papers and doing those questions, especially those ones that might be really long, especially that 8 marker. That was a bit of a tough question. All right. See you in part 4.